thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
Hey, yo, welcome to the Review It Rob show. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm in a bit of a somber mood recording this episode here tonight, so I do apologize. I'm going to try to pick things up as we get more into the episode, but there's a passing of somebody who was a huge part of my childhood that took place today that's got me in a pretty funky mood, but I appreciate everybody joining in. Welcome to the Review It Rob show. I'm, of course, your host, Review It Rob, coming at you with the latest in movie news, video game news, TV, DC, horror news, all that stuff, man. So as I mentioned there at the beginning of the show, I said the hey yo, that is in reference to, like I mentioned before, a huge part of my childhood. Scott Hall sadly passed away today as they're recording this episode at the age of 63 years old now. To some of you who listen to the show who are not professional wrestling fans, you may not know who Scott Hall was. Like I mentioned, he was a huge part of my childhood growing up watching wrestling. He went by the name of Razor Ramon from his time in the WWE, then the WWF, until in 1996 when he went over to WCW with Kevin Nash, and they were the Outsiders and became the NWO, which was a huge main faction in the wrestling world, and just took over the whole landscape of wrestling and changed things big time. So, and then of course he had a legendary, absolutely amazing career, ended up going into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014, and he then again went into the Hall of Fame in, I want to say 2020. It was postponed until 2021 because of the pandemic, as a member of course, the NWO. He's held multiple championships throughout companies at the WWE. He was a Intercontinental Champion 4 times, again 2-time Hall of Famer. He won Slammy Awards. In other companies, he won Tag Team Championships, World Television Championships, United States Heavyweight Championships. All around very successful man throughout his career in wrestling. He's one of the biggest names in wrestling history, without a doubt. And a huge influence on a lot of wrestlers. Seen a lot of wrestlers paying tribute today. Immediately coming to mind is Damien Priest, who, he has that kind of, he's even said himself that he's modeled his character after Razor Ramon and Scott Hall. So you can see he was a huge influence on a lot of people throughout the wrestling world, and just hearing stories about how great of a guy he was. His persona and his character was the bad guy, Razor Ramon, but outside of the ring, he seemed to be a good guy. He fought his demons and had his battles, but over the last 5 or 6 years, he's been living a clean and good life, and came tragically to an end today as they're recording this episode. And like I said, I started off, I don't know how many people that listen to the show who are wrestling fans, so you may not know, the impact this is having on me personally. Like I mentioned, growing up, this was, a huge person in my life, and it's always a huge part of my life. So my first introduction to professional wrestling was the WWE, then WWF, and the first ever wrestler I ever became a fan of was Razor Ramon. I remember seeing him on screen, and he just this looks so awesome, coming out there, and he has this like swagger to him when he's walking, and he had the slick back hair and a ponytail with a little strand of hair going down the middle of his forehead, and he's got the chains around his neck, and he's just oozes coolness and just seems so awesome. Then you see him in the ring, he's doing moves like a fall away slam that looks awesome, and of course the Razor's Edge, which is in my books one of the greatest finishing moves of all time. And I just remember seeing him and always being cool. He did his little his pose in the ring, and he had the fireworks shooting up behind him, and just I thought he was like the coolest freaking thing I ever saw. And I always loved Scott Hall, man. I was always a fan. I didn't watch WCW that much. I was a very WWF guy, but I always tuned into WCW to see him, and the NWO would see him because I was such a huge fan. And I've always loved him, and to this day, if I'm walking in the hallway, sometimes I'll just do his little strut just for the hell of it. And if I ever have a toothpick for some reason, when I throw it in the trash can, I would try to mimic and throw it like him. It was just always a big influence on me in my life, and having the long hair definitely has a lot to do with professional wrestling, but especially Scott Hall, because like I said, he always had that slick back hair and the ponytail and all that. He's always an awesome and cool dude to see, and I was always excited when something came up with him in the wrestling world, and I was so happy to see him get his life back on track and beat his demons and everything, man. So, like I said, some of you who aren't wrestling fans probably don't get it. That's the best way I can like try to put it in terms for people who don't watch wrestling. Like, imagine when you're younger and you're growing up and you find like this actor or actress or whoever on a show, and you become a big fan of them, and you just follow them throughout their whole career, and then that person passes away, man. It takes an effect on you. It's like it's part of your childhood, and while may not personally know them, you feel some kind of connection to them because when you were a kid, you were watching them and a fan, and as you were growing up, and they were always there, and now they're gone. I know it's weird to some people. There's like celebrities and connections and all that stuff, but I mean, it's a thing, man. It's a true, honest thing where we have these connections with people, and whatever ways we have it, be it nostalgia or whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, him passing away it definitely had an effect on me throughout the day, and I'm definitely gonna hit the WWE network stuff on Peacock and watch some of his old matches. There was a documentary of his that came out not too long ago that I'm gonna have a revisit and fun. I got the WWE 2K game, so I'm gonna unlock his Razor Ramon and Scott Hall are both on there, so I'm gonna unlock them and definitely run some matches, man, and just pay tribute and love to one of my all-time favorites, man. It was sad that he passed away today, and you know, my thoughts and prayers were, of course, with his family and his friends, and that broke me a couple times seeing his friends, talking about how he's gone, especially Kevin Nash, who was right there by his side all these years. So yeah, that was a reason why I'm in a bit of a somber note, and as we get through this episode and move into the movie stuff and all that, I'll pick it up, man. But I had to pay tribute to this huge part of my life without a doubt. So I appreciate you giving me the time there to talk about that, and to go out here. I want to play his his theme song when he was Razor Ramon when he came out to the ring, because I always loved that song. It was one of my all-time favorites for sure, and I've always rocked that song throughout the years, man. So just to in memory of Razor Ramon, I want to cue up his song one more time on the show. I'm sure I'll play it a couple more times on the show, but bear with me here as I pull the song up, and we'll get there in a moment. But yeah, I want to play his song. It's just like in memory, and after that, we'll get into our regular movie news of the show. All right, thank everybody for indulging me there and let me take that moment to talk about an absolute huge part of my life. Thank you, Scott, wherever you're at, for everything. All right, so let's shift into the movie news, shall we? Starting off with, well, this news is going to make me much of happier, but I guess this is the biggest news since the last time we had a little talk here, our weekly session. Warner Brothers has shifted some release dates, and of course, the biggest move here is that now the Flash is no longer releasing on November 4th. It's no longer releasing this year. Damn it! It has now moved to June 23rd, 2023. And again, I apologize if I pause a lot. Again, somber mood. I'm just trying to catch myself and all that. So I mean, it's releasing 4 days before my birthday next year, so I guess kind of sort of a movie birthday for me. I was highly anticipating this movie, was hoping and really excited for this movie to release this year. And now it's being pushed back to next year, but there's actually a pretty valid reason as to why it's being pushed back. Um, but before we get there, let's talk about the other movies. DC's League of Super Pets has moved from May 20th to July 29th, so just a couple months later, but that's still releasing this year. Aquaman is moving from December. Aquaman 2 is moving from December 16th to March 17th, 2023. It's still moving to my not seeing list. Let's see, Wonka, the movie starring Timothy Chalamet, another Wonka movie, as we need one, is moving from March 17th, 2023 to December 15th, 2023. Wow, they're making that a Christmas movie. Shazam! Fury of the Gods actually moves up. It was going to release June 2nd, 2023, but this is moving up to December 16th, 2022 of this year. So I know my brother's super stoked and excited about that. He loves the Shazam films. And that's going to be a Christmas movie this year, so that's fun. And it's going up against Avatar 2. I know which one I'm seeing. Yeah, duh, Shazam 2, without a doubt. Fury of the Gods. I don't care about no freaking blue cats, man. Get out of here. I can see that movie much later like I did with the first Avatar movie. And let's see, Meg 2. The Trench is now got an official date for August 4th of 2023. So the reasoning behind this is related to COVID, but it's not related to COVID in the way that other delays have been. And what I mean by that is um, these movies are coming out, and most of these superhero movies have visual effects. They're very visual effect driven, very VFX heavy, if you will. So these pushbacks are due to the fact that a number of these movies having these heavy visual effects is causing, I guess you can say, like a jam at like post production effects houses. The places that do these movies and put the post production efforts in. It's causing like a log jam because now they're shut down because of COVID. A lot of movies are paused because of COVID. Now everything's getting back up and ramping, and it's causing a jam, as you will. So that's basically the reason these movies are being pushed back. Fingers crossed that maybe they can find a way to add Robert Pattinson into this Flash movie and give us the three Batmans that everybody loves, because we already know Keaton's in it and we know that Batfleck is in it. So that'd be cool if they do that. But it seems like it's very visual effects heavy and all that. But at the same time, hey, you get the chance to shoot some more stuff, go for it. Why not? Why not? Go for it. You're obviously going to spend some time between releasing the film anyway. So go ahead and do your thing. But yeah, I gotta wait even longer for the Flash now. Let's see. We got some Monsters news. Rob Zombie's Monsters. He posted, and I love this post so much, saying, "quote For those of you speculating, wondering, and assuming that the monsters would be dirty, violent, and nasty, well, you are wrong. Um, it's all good down on Mockingbird Lane." Because Rob Zombie's got like a track record with his movies being pretty, violent and brutal. So a lot of people have assumed, like the asses that they are, that his Monsters film would end up being a very gritty and dirty and gory and messed up movie. Well, it is officially rated PG, so that's not going to happen. And again, Rob Zombie's a huge fan of the Monsters. Like, take it easy, people. Be calm. He's going to do good things with the Monsters, all right? And again, that may be a little bit of bias because I do love me some Rob Zombie. But, like, trust me, the dude's going to do fantastic stuff over here with the Monsters. And speaking of fantastic stuff with the Munsters, we've got a first look at a character by the name of Barbara Carr, who is the #1 real estate agent in all of Mockingbird Heights. Barbara is going to be played by none other than horror icon, the Mistress of the Dark herself, Elvira, also known as, by her real name, Cassandra Peterson. She has joined the Monsters cast. This isn't breaking news that she's part of the cast. Talked about that many, many moons ago. But we finally know the character. She's playing the #1 real estate agent in all of Mockingbird Heights, man. So, and then he posted, "Stay tuned for more exciting news to come." So that movie is ramping up and getting closer and closer to being, done. They're working on it now. He's sharing more set photos and all that stuff. Be sure to follow Rob Zombie on Instagram and see that stuff. I'm excited, man. I'm into it. Like I said, I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. I can't wait to see what he does with something he loves. I mean, all of us film fanatics, cinephiles, if you will, would love this opportunity to take something that we love so much and be able to make it. You know, so I mean, he's getting the opportunity to work on the Monsters, something he's loved, and I can't wait to see his love letter, man. Let's see, Deadpool 3 update. Sean Levy, who you may know from Stranger Things, is in negotiations to direct Deadpool 3. This would be the third time that Levy and Ryan Reynolds have teamed up when they have recently worked together on Free Guy, which is on the Disney Plus. Go check that out if you have the Disney Plus. Uh, Pretty good movie. And they recently released The Adam Project, which is on Netflix. That will be on my Flixit review show, so I can't spoil my thoughts on that one. That's only for my patrons, baby. um, so this is going to be interesting, and I can't wait to see where they go. And I keep hitting the mic, so it's making weird noises. Sorry. Um, but this is the first Deadpool with Marvel Studios. We'll see how it ends up going. The other two Deadpool movies are beloved. I think two is beloved, right? I know people absolutely adore the first movie. I personally have only seen the second movie, I think, twice, and I haven't gone back to it. But love that first movie. So, either way, we're getting, Deadpool is moving forward. There's no way that we're going to do a third film. We'll see how everything shakes up and pans out over there now that it is part of Marvel Studios. But into it, man. I like Sean Levy, like I said, Free Guy, good. Stranger Things, fucking amazing. So bring it on, dude. Speaking of third film updates, getting a kind of an update on National Treasure 3, with Nicolas Cage saying that he has not been contacted about returning for a possible National Treasure 3, and that no conversations are happening about making a new film. He also didn't comment on the new Disney Plus reboot, which I've talked about a couple times on this show. Disney Plus is doing some National Treasure stuff. And, National Treasure 3 is something that's been rumored for quite some time. Kind of surprised that they're not doing anything with it. Nicolas Cage has kind of become an internet darling over the last couple of years. A lot of people are really into Nicolas Cage. I don't know if it's like the level of how much in love they are with like Keanu, but people are really high on the Nicolas Cage thing. And I get it, man. Nicolas Cage is fun. He's one of those eccentric actors. Can't wait to see this new movie he's got coming out later this year. The Life According, I think is what it's called. Let me do a quick. I feel like I did this on the last episode too. I'm like, what the hell's the name of that new Nicolas Cage movie? You know, um, I swear it's like the life of something or blah blah blah. Come on, come on. The unbearable weight of massive talent. Not even close. What the hell was I thinking of? So the unbearable weight of massive talent. That movie looks like it's going to be a fun time. So I'll definitely be checking that out and giving a spoiler-free review on this episode. Not this episode. God, good lord. I can see into the future, apparently. Let's see. Florence Pugh, you love her. Austin Butler, Elvis. Which, by the way, saw that trailer again and again. My boy Dacre Montgomery's in it, so I'm already gonna see it for that. But dude's doing a good job as Elvis from what I'm seeing in the trailer. The movie looks interesting. I'm definitely gonna see the movie. Good, good, good too, man. I don't know much about Austin Butler's career, and we don't need to go into it now, but we'll go to it when we talk about Elvis. But good on him. They are both, however, I bring them up because they have joined the cast of Dune 2, apparently, or they're in negotiations to join Dune 2. Austin Butler would be playing the villainous, oh, I'm going to get this wrong, Fiad Rutha, the sadistic nephew of Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, um, and the heir of the Harkonnen Empire. Florence Pugh would be playing Princess Erlin. Now, I have not seen the most recent Dune movie. I have not seen any Dune movie. Let's be fine. Let's be fair here. I haven't seen a single one of these movies, so I couldn't tell you what to think. I remember seeing the trailer. I'm like, oh, it's Star Wars and the desert. But hey, you're into it. You're into it. I'll eventually get around to seeing it at some point, but right now is not the time. But I do like Florence Pugh. She's great. I've enjoyed pretty much anything she's been in. with the exception of Midsummer. So, yeah. Let's see. Blade rumors. We've been waiting for Blade stuff, and the rumors are going rampant that he'll be appearing in the upcoming Werewolf by Night. What a name. The Marvel special that will be hitting Disney Plus later this year. The special is set to introduce the concept of werewolves into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and will act as a one-shot special for fans getting into the Halloween mood later this year. Now, another bit of rumor involving this Werewolf by Night is that the character that Laura Donnelly, she's been cast. The character that she may be playing is a character by the name of Nina Price, who ends up becoming Vampire Night by Night. Again, what a name. Who is Jack Russell's niece in the comics and carries the Lycan gene and is turned into a vampire slash werewolf hybrid after being bitten by a vampire. Is that vampire Blade? Who knows? But it's interesting, to say the least. Blade is a vampire, right? I don't know shit about when it comes to Blade, man. I just know he's cool. Let's see. Also, interesting fact here: the Batman, which I saw for the second time over the weekend, still absolutely love and adore that movie. Fantastic from start to finish. I don't have a single complaint. Um, the composer of the Batman soundtrack, Michael Giacchino, is directing this Werewolf by Night feature for Marvel. Freaking good on you, Michael, man. Go ahead, dude. Take care of it. Nail it, man. That's going to be cool. Can't wait to see that and support that because I love what you did with that Batman tunes, baby. All right, let's see. Over at Discovery News, we know that they are merging with AT&T's Warner Media, or it's going to become Warner Brothers Discovery within the next month or so. And it's been confirmed now that there will be one streaming service instead of two, because there is, of course, HBO Max, and there is a separate Discovery Plus streaming service, because they're not officially merged. But once they become merged, the plan is that the platforms will be merged, obviously, together as a bundle. Pricing and all that stuff has been figured out. I believe Discovery's like not as much as HBO Max. I think it's like a couple of dollars for like the ad-free version, and then HBO Max's non-free version is like $15, which I think is like double. I don't know how much Discovery is. I'm just rambling here, but you know what I'm saying. So we'll figure that all out again within the next month. They're merging. A lot of freaking speculation, rumors have come out about this. About Discovery CEO wants to get the Snyderverse back going, and another Batfleck movie coming, and all that stuff. Man, things are happening over there. And again, this is all rumors. We don't know what's actually going to happen, but I will be reporting it as time goes on. Um, if they want to do it, cool. I have no issues whatsoever with the Snyderverse continuing. Just make sure he continue to give me Pattinson, all right? Because he is awesome, and that movie was spectacular, all right. Which I'm not worried about. We're gonna get more of the Pattinson without a doubt, because that movie's making money, baby. It's making money. I'm not gonna overreact and say it'll beat Spider-Man, because it more than likely won't. But it did make more money on its debut week than Spider-Man did. So that lets you know how much money that thing's making. If that information is wrong, blame Mark Bernard from Fat Man Beyond, because that's where I heard it. Let's see. So speaking of, we're talking Batman and Warner and DC and all that stuff. Let's jump into it. I hit the mic again. I'm sorry, guys. This episode is a mess. But do you expect anything different? Come on. Come on. All right, so DC news. I can start off with the fact that Gotham Knights officially has a release date. Gotham will always need its heroes. Suit up for the all-new adventure of Gotham Knights on December 25th, 2022. It's a freaking Halloween gift for us, man. So, Gotham Knights, again, is a game that takes place after the events of Arkham Knight. That's why I always mess around and call this game Arkham Knights. But it is a action role-playing video game from the team over there, Warner Brothers Montreal. I'm excited, man. I'm always excited to play in the Batman world. I can't wait to play the Suicide Squad game when that comes out, which that was pushed to next year. But I'm into it, dude. I'm into it. I'm excited about it. Gonna have fun. Speaking of games, Hogwarts Legacy, another Warner Brothers games. They were getting a state of play from PlayStation. That's where PlayStation talks about the game and everything. They're gonna show 14 minutes of gameplay. That's happening this Thursday as they're recording this episode. So tune in. That will be on YouTube for you all to check out. I've got it set to watch as soon as it premieres and all that stuff. So excited. Let's see. Nicolas Cage and Sam Raimi have talked about how they want to join the DC universe. Sam Raimi, if you don't know, he is part of the Evil Dead franchise, part of the Spider-Man franchise, and he is directing, or he is the director of the upcoming Doctor Strange 2 and the Multiverse of Madness, which I think is just called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But come on, man, sequel 2, come on, come on. Do they do numbers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I guess so, like Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. I don't know, man. It just seems like their sequels are always like, have a name or just what, like, Thor the Dark World or Thor Ragnarok, or Spider Man Homecoming, Spider Man Far From Home, Spider Man No Way Home. Like, I think they've gotten rid of the numbers. Is Guardians of the Galaxy called 3 or is it called like something else? I was about to say Cosmic Rewind, but I think that's the name of the ride at Disney. Yeah. All right. So, um, Sam Raimi said, quote, "I've always loved Batman. And if I ever saw the bat signal up in the air, I'd come running. If I heard the deep, gurgling laugh of the shadow coming from the darkness, I would also tentatively step outside." Sam Raimi, of course, talking about he wants to do a Batman movie, man. I'm into this idea. The Pattinson movie that just came out has a lot of horror elements into it, man. And I think horror works very well with Batman. You look at some of these characters, like, dude, give me Sam Raimi doing freaking Scarecrow. That could be pretty freaking cool, dude. The stuff that the fear toxin could conjure up, and that Sam Raimi could do working with that. Oh, give it to me. Give me. I mean, of course, you got the Joker and all the stuff, but yeah, freaking, hey, do some stuff over there. As for Nicolas Cage, he was at the premiere for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, um, and he said what villain he would love to play in a Batman sequel if given the opportunity. Saying, quote, here's something. I've been thinking about this because we have the new Robert Pattinson as the Batman, which I haven't seen it yet, but I think he would be terrific. Um, there's freaking quotes all over the place. Freaking trying to read Nicolas Cage is tough. All right, so haven't seen it yet. Blah 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 blah. But I think he would be terrific. The villain that Vincent Price played on the '60s show Egghead. I think I want to have a go at Egghead. I think I could make him absolutely terrifying, and I have a concept for Egghead. So let them know over Warner Brothers. I'm down for Egghead. Egghead was a character which mentioned before was on the Adam West Batman show, the Batman series, who was a genius and uses egg-themed weapons. I'm here for it. I mean, bring it on. I'm here for it. I don't know if Eggman fits the theme of what they're going for over there, but Matt Reeves has been pretty vocal about wanting to ground some characters and bring them into the real world over there. So, do you want to do an Eggman? Do an Eggman. Robert Pattinson was recently talking about how his favorite villain is the Condiment King. Almost called him the Condiment Man. I'm the Condiment King. So who knows, man? Maybe they'll find some way to put him in there as well. But a lot of things to think about and hope for over there. So that does it for our DC, mandatory DC news, which means it's time for the mandatory horror news. Starting it off with, there was this fan project a couple years ago called Never Hike Alone. It's like a Friday the 13th fan project. And apparently it's getting a sequel with the name, you guessed it, Never Hike Alone 2. Um, Womp Stomp Films, okay, has launched the Indiegogo fundraiser campaign to make a Never Hike Alone 2. The films that are, again, fan projects that are heavily influenced by Friday the 13th. They're pretty much Friday the 13th fan projects. If it's fully funded, the film is targeted to release for free on the Womp Stomp Films YouTube channel in October of 2022, which is the closest you're ever going to get to a Friday the 13th film anytime soon. Sorry, Friday the 13th film fans. You're going through some shit, I know. I haven't seen the other one, but apparently it's got a lot of praise and a lot of love, and if they're wanting to do a sequel to it, obviously it's got some traction. So good on them over there at Womp Stomp Films. What a name. What a name. And we'll see what happens there, man. Indiegogo. So I guess if you want to be part of that fundraiser campaign, Indiegogo is where you can go to do that. Let's see. Christina Ricci. We know I love her. My first ever crush. She has a new movie coming out, and we've got a release date for that. And there's a trailer out there as well. The film is called Monsterous, and they're planning to release that in theaters and on demand on May 13th. In the film, Christina Ricci plays the character Laura, who is traumatized by an abusive relationship and finally runs away from her former husband with her 7-year-old son Cody. But in their new idyllic and remote sanctuary, they find they have another bigger, more terrifying monster to deal with. One that will test both their mental health issues to the limit. I'm into it, man. Christina Ricci's in it, so I'll definitely check it out. It's a little close to home for Christina Ricci. She was in an abusive relationship recently, and she left that and now has met a great person. They've had a kid and all that. She seems happy, so good for Christina Ricci. I always want to see her doing good. Like I said, I've always been a fan of her. Um, again, since I was a kid, man, I've always been a fan of Christina Ricci. I always loved her. Like I said, it's the first girl I ever had a crush on. I think not just my ever first celebrity crush. I think it was the first girl I ever had a crush on. So, so there you go. Let's see, Ty West. He has the upcoming film X coming out. Going to be talking about that here in a moment. Um, it made its worldwide premiere over there at South by Southwest Film Festival, and at that film festival, he released a, a teaser trailer, if you will, of a prequel called Pearl, a prequel to this X movie that hasn't even come out yet. So we already know that there's going to be a prequel coming out later for this X movie, which, helps me transition pretty well into the movies that are releasing this week. So, X is releasing this week. It's rated R. It's a horror mystery thriller, the trifecta of awesomeness. It's 1 hour 45 minutes, and this will be in theaters. This is an A24 film. Now, in 1979, some young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas, but when their reclusive elderly host catches them in the act, the cast members find themselves in a fight for their lives. And I will be seeing this movie this week. And the reason being, Jenna Ortega is in it. We've talked about her a couple times. She is a fantastic actress, so she's gotten that check next to her as far as I'm concerned. Like, oh, she's in it, I'll watch it because she's freaking good, right? I am not. I've talked about it multiple times on the show. I'm not the biggest A24 fan. That style of film doesn't really, you know, mesh well with me, unless like one of my favorite actors is in it. For example, Andrew Garfield. It's in a film called Under the Silver Lake, A24 film. I enjoyed it. Andrew's in it. I guess that theory doesn't necessarily work because Florence Pugh, I enjoy her, and she's in Midsommar, and not a fan. So it's at 50% right now. We'll see how things go with this movie. But yeah, I'm definitely checking this out. And speaking of checking out, while I was looking up the information on this movie, gathering the synopsis, right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it is sitting at a 100% critic score. So, I mean, it's early, things could drop, dip, and, all that stuff as the week goes on and more people get the chance to see the movie and review it. But right now, it's sitting at 100%, man. So, it's doing something for the critics. So, we got Uma coming out this week. Uma? UMMA. I mean, I think of Uma Thurman immediately when I see that. Of course, she has the one M. But Uma, PG-13. This is a horror film as well. It's for 1 hour 23 minutes, so not going to be a long movie. Is in theaters only as well. Uma stars, which is the Korean word for mother. Follows Amanda, played by Sandra Oh, and her daughter, living a quiet life on an American farm. But when the remains of her estranged mother arrive from Korea, Amanda becomes haunted by the fear of turning into her own mother. That sounds wild, man. All right, cool. I'll eventually end up seeing it because it is a horror movie. I don't know if I'll make it to theaters to see that one. I need to get that freaking Regal Pass, man. I don't know what I keep waiting on. If I get the Regal Pass, I can see them all. Let's see. The Outfit, rated R. This is a mystery thriller crime movie. All right. Pretty good trifecta there. It's 1 hour 45 minutes. This will be limited theaters. This comes from Academy Award-winning writer of The Imitation Game, Graham Moore. The Outfit is a gripping and masterful thriller in which an expert tailor must outwit a dangerous group of mobsters in order to survive a fateful night. All right, doesn't sound too bad. Let's see, we've got Alice. This is a mystery thriller drama, 1 hour 40 minutes. This is also in theaters. Is inspired by true accounts. Alice is a modern empowerment fable tracing Alice's journey through the post-civil rights era American South. Right on. Let's see, we've got Deepwater. This is Radar. This is a mystery and a thrill. It's 1 hour, 55 minutes, and will be streaming on Hulu. This is based on the celebrated novel by famed mystery writer Patricia Highsman. Deepwater takes us inside the marriage of picture-perfect Vic, played by Ben Affleck, and Melinda, played by Ana de Armas. Vic and Melinda Van Allen, to discover the dangerous mind games they play and what happens to the people that get caught up in them. Is that like Mr. and Mrs. Smith? I don't know, probably a little different. Truth be told, I haven't seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I know there's like a couple thing going on there. That's what I gather. Again, I haven't seen the freaking movie, so I'm not going to say spoiler alert because I haven't seen the movie. I have no idea. This is, remember when Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas were a couple for like a little bit of time, and then, that went away, and now Ben refers back. There we go. We get to relive when they were a couple, man. So Deepwater, that's on Hulu if you got the Hulu. And the last thing we got here is yet another Cheaper by the Dozen is on the way. This is, of course, PG. It will be streaming on the Disney Plus. It's a comedy kids family thing. A man and his wife navigate a hectic home life while trying to raise 10 children and manage the family business. So, a Cheaper by the Dozen film. You've seen them, pretty much. And there you go. So, that's going to do it for the news and what's releasing this week. So we're going to get into our review, which I don't think I ever mentioned what I'm reviewing here. I saw a movie called The 355 over the weekend, and we're going to talk about that. So cue up the trailer and I'll be back.
Remember that story that they told us about in training?
About George Washington's first female spy during the Revolution. They called her Agent 355 because they didn't want the world to know her real name. But her legacy lives on. We're the top agents from around the world. American, British, German, Colombian, Chinese.
But now we have a common enemy. They can start World War III from a simple reach of their keyboard. So we need to join forces. It's like half the CIA's most wanted.
Always such a tough guy.
I'm not an agent, I'm a therapist.
They thought it would give you my secrets.
Do you have secrets? We put ourselves in danger so that others are not. I'll handle the guns.
Are you in therapy?
I should be.
You're the best in the world at what you do.
You have cameras in your jewelry, comms in your earrings. You bump, I grab. The target is on the move. You're not going in there alone.
We go together.
I have a family. I cannot do this anymore. The bad guys are out there right now. You go home. You bring them with you. Are you under control? Are you? No.
Black cars, all black, everything.
I've got 4 more agents out on the street.
I counted 6, but thanks for the tip.
I like the new team.
We're the 355.
Alright, welcome back to the show. So that was the trailer for The 355. The movie is a PG-13 film. It's an action mystery thriller and it's 2 hours and 2 minutes. Synopsis goes like this. When a top secret weapon falls into mercenary hands, wildcard CIA agent Mason Mace Brown, played by Oscar-nominated actress Jessica Chastain, will need to join forces with rival badass German agent Marie, played by Diane Kruger, former MI6 ally and cutting-edge computer specialist Khadija, played by Oscar winner Lupita Nyong'o, and skilled Colombian psychologist Cecilia, played by Oscar winner Penelope Cruz, on a lethal breakneck mission to retrieve it, while also staying one step ahead of a mysterious woman Lin Mei Sing, played by Bing Bing Fan, who is tracking their every move. As the action rockets around the globe from the cafes of Paris to the markets of Morocco to the opulent auction houses of Shanghai, the quartet of women will forge a tenacious loyalty that could protect the world or get them killed. Sebastian Stan's also in this movie. Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score, yikes, of 24%, and the audience score is 86%, so big difference there. And then IMDb has it at, you guessed it, a 5.2 out of 10. IMDb, man, they are always in those fives, right? Now for me, I remember seeing this trailer before some movie. This movie came out in January, so I may have, it's Universal Films, so maybe I saw it before Scream or something like that. I remember seeing the trailer. I'm like, it's interesting enough. I'll get around to it at some point. Wasn't going to see it in theaters. Well, some point came because I finally watched it over the weekend because it is on Peacock. Early access, or whatever you call it. And, I don't want to be overly critical or anything like that, but, it's kind of a run-of-the-mill action movie. When I was watching it, it's like, okay, it's a fine movie. I'm not gonna say it's horrible by any means, but it doesn't really stand apart. Other than the obvious where they're kind of doing the obviously a group of women who are being badasses, which I have no problem with that. I'll stand up gladly for the quote female Ghostbusters film, whatever you want to call it. Love the most recent Charlie's Angels film, starring Kristen Stewart. Freaking Naomi Scott was in that as well. I like Naomi Scott. And I guess that's probably the easiest comparison you can make. I think my brother even said it. It's like Charlie's Angels, kind of, but at the same time, I don't think it's better than the most recent Charlie's Angels film that came out, or maybe even the other Charlie's Angels film, or even the show. I don't know what it was about this movie, but I did lose interest multiple times while watching it. And again, it's not like it's lacking any talent. I mean, obviously Jessica Chastain's very talented, Lupita Nyong'o talented, Penelope Cruz talented. I mean, they're all talented, right? Lupita should have won a goddamn Oscar for her performance in Us. Like, I don't care what anybody's got to say. She was amazing in that movie. And Jessica Chastain's up for an Oscar for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which she's absolutely amazing in that and deserves to win the Oscar. So, I mean, it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with the talent of the film. It just, I trying to put it into words, it just never felt amazing, I guess. I never felt like I was watching anything different. It kind of just felt like your run-of-the-mill action movie, man, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, movies are going to be, necessarily close to being the same. I mean, we've got freaking decades and decades and decades of movies. Some of them are going to run into the same kind of feel and style. So I don't necessarily blame them for that. It just, to me, the movie, it lost my interest multiple times, and if you lose me while watching a movie, because you know me, when I'm watching a movie, I'm like, I'm in. Like, I want to be in. I don't go into a movie hoping for the worst. I mean, Black Widow, I wasn't hoping for the worst, but when it came to Black Widow, I'm like, this movie's late, um, but yeah, with this movie, like I said, I went into it actually interested, man. I'm like, cool, I'll check it out. I like Jessica Chastain. I like Lupita, I like Penelope. Why not? And then, like I said, I mean, the movies, to use the classic phrase, it's what it is. I mean, the movie is. It just is. It's there. If you're into action movies, you'll have fun with it. I think it got to a point where, like I said, it's kind of. I'm getting repetitive by saying this. It's kind of the repetitive action movie. The mystery isn't all that much. So yeah. I mean, not gonna go long on this movie. I don't have a whole lot to really say. To really sell the movie. Like I said, I never tell anybody not to watch a movie, but that 24%, that seems harsh. That seems kind of harsh. I think I would put it be around 50%. I think it's like right there in the middle. Like I said, it kind of just is. It doesn't really stand apart from anything. It's fine for what it needs to be, and cool. That's all I could go with. So that's gonna be my review of it. It's not a horrible movie, but it's not necessarily fantastic either way. So I'm glad I waited for streaming on this one. And again, I don't want to beat anybody up. I'm a fan of the people that's in this movie. It's just, it didn't do it for me, man. It didn't do it for me. Plain and simple. It didn't do it for me. If you're looking for just a run-of-the-mill action movie, here you go, dude. There you go. You got no problem. If you need a quick action movie to watch and you're like, I want a new action movie, there you go, man. You can do it. I suggest checking out the most recent Charlie's Angels instead of this movie, but eventually get to the 355. Like I said, I'm not gonna tell you not to watch a movie, but if you're like, hey, which one should I watch between Charlie's Angels with Kristen Stewart or the 355? I'm gonna tell you Charlie's Angels, Kristen Stewart. Just being fair. Just being fair. Might seem contradictory. I'm not telling you not to see the 355. See it at a later time. Which one should you watch first? Charlie's Angels. All right, there you go. That's going to do it for the review of the 355, where I just repetitively said the same thing over and over again to just kill time, pretty much. Apparently is what I did. But not to necessarily kill time, because I have a bonus review, baby. Hang on tight, because I got something else to talk about. All right, so I was going to find an audio clip there, but, all of them are just giving me, songs, and I don't want to get, I don't want to get in trouble for using people's songs, man. So, since the last time we talked, before we get there, since the last time we talked, close the laptop, I mentioned that I saw the Batman for the second time. Also saw Scream 5, or Scream, whatever you want to call it, for the second time. I still not a huge fan. I don't hate it. Let's get this straight. I don't hate it. It's not the worst horror movie I've seen this year. Not gonna get extremely, negative again, so I'm not going into that. But not the worst horror movie I've seen this year. It's fun for the nostalgia, seeing Ghostface and Sydney and all that. But I don't know, man. It is a very run-of-the-mill Scream film. They definitely are good lord, carbon copying everything that they've done through the other films. So I get why people have some kind of issues with it and all that stuff. I'm still not a huge fan of it. Don't get me wrong. But it's always cool seeing Ghostface, and of course, Jenna Ortega was awesome in it. Good for David Arquette. I just watched the David Arquette. You cannot kill David Arquette documentary about him getting back into professional wrestling, and you're just kind of seeing the story of how Hollywood's treating him horribly about no longer being a wrestler and all that stuff. Or Hollywood's treating him negatively because he wants to be a wrestler, and him going into wrestling kind of messed with his career and all that stuff. So it was good seeing him back in a film, even though it was a Scream movie. And he's like a legacy character, but all that stuff. It was good to see him acting and all that. But yeah, I don't know. That movie's still that movie. Nonetheless, that's not the bonus review. The bonus review is, since the last time we talked, WWE 2K22 came out. You know me. I'm a huge wrestling fan. And I've always loved these wrestling games. I've played them throughout my childhood, and as they've released a new one, I've gotten it every single year. And so excited for when this game came out, because we didn't get one last year. They had a lot of issues with 2K20. I wish they ended up fixing, and they fixed the bugs and all that. And I had a good time actually with 2K20 after they fixed everything and all that. I actually got the game much later. Because I waited. When I saw all the glitches that were going on, I'm like, I can wait a little bit for them to patch it and fix it, because that's what they do with video games now. None of them are ever really 100% when they come out. They always have to do some kind of patchwork or everything when they release them. So I did have a good time with 2K20 as time went on. But 2K22 finally came out, which, funny enough, is like one of the first sports game with the 2K22 name that actually came out in 2K22. If you don't play video games, or especially sports games, that's a pretty funny joke, because like later this year, Madden 23 will come out, but it's coming out in 22. So, it's stuff like that with sports game. But nonetheless, so excited about the game. Pre-ordered it so I can get the 3 Undertakers, and I was hyped up, man. And launch day came. So excited to get off work and download the game. And when I got off work, that's what I did. I downloaded it. But I didn't fully download it, apparently. Which was my mistake. But at the same time, it's on them too, because they said the game's ready to play. So I'm like, all right, cool. Jumped in immediately. I'm like, what's going on? The menu screen wasn't fully working. It would only let me go to play now and all that stuff. I'm like, all right, maybe this is a tutorial thing, because they changed a lot of stuff. Maybe it's a tutorial thing. I'll go in here. I'll run a quick match, which I did. Had a good time with it, but also I need to learn some stuff about this new controls they're working with. And then, after that, I'm like, okay, cool. But still nothing was working. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I realized when I was downloading it, I went to go get some food and went to shop, and the system went into rest mode and it didn't finish downloading fully because it needed a system update and all that stuff. So I was like, maybe something happened when it was downloading and I just have to re-download it. So deleted that file, re-downloaded it, same thing. I'm like, what's going on? So I looked at the information. I'm like, oh, it's still downloading. This thing took a while to download. There's a lot of room, and at the same time, maybe my downloading was slow because I don't ever really download anything on the PlayStation. I'm normally a disc guy. I buy the disc and all that stuff, but I think the only thing I downloaded was the Uncharted Lost Legacy. I don't really download games, but it was like the first game I downloaded, and I don't have a problem with my internet. I mean, I can have a TV streaming while there's another TV streaming over here, and I'm playing on my phone and laptop at the same time. Like, my internet's fine. I'm not worried about my internet at all. So I think it's just, I don't know what happened there. But it took a while, but when it finally fully downloaded, and I got to play the game, and I'm having an absolute blast with this. It looks amazing. I plan to stream it on the Thrill Me podcast networks, YouTube. Don't worry, working plans out for that now. But I'm having a great time with it. The game looks great. It's smooth. Feels very smooth. It has like an arcade feel to it as well, but it does feel smooth. They definitely changed some camera, angles and all that stuff to make it more like you're watching it on TV, which is fine. I got no problem with that. But like I said, they did change the controls. I gotta get used to controls, especially when it comes to like reversals, because you still have the one reversal for like strikes, but they've added in this whole new thing where if they're doing a combo of strikes, you got to try to figure out, all right, what button are they going to hit next, and you can try to do a blocker. But the main change here is with grappling. You can't reverse the grapple unless you know what they're about to hit you with. So it's added like this new element into it. I'm getting my ass kicked in the matches. But with that said, even with me getting my ass kicked, I can reverse a finisher like nobody's business, and I haven't lost a single match yet. Granted, playing it on normal difficulty, but I'm getting used to the new controls, so get off me. But I'm having a great time. That's what matters, man. Playing video games is about having a great time. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I got to play it on the hardest level and all that stuff. I'm not one of the, you want to judge me for what level of difficulty I'm playing on? I don't give a fudge, man. I'm having a good time. That's all that matters to me. I will, of course, increase difficulty as I get more, into the game, but I don't care about people judging me. I stopped caring about that a long time ago. But I'm having a great time. Needless to say, WWE 2K22 is a fantastic, fun game. I think it just got like an 8 out of 10 on IGN when they reviewed it and all that stuff. I'm having a good time, man. I'm thoroughly having a great time. Can't wait to dive back into that one and do some stuff. I haven't gotten to the showcase mode. That'll be my next plan after I get a little more used to it, because I don't want to go into showcase mode and just like mess up things. But I also saw that as well. There's like in previous wrestling games when you're doing the showcase mode, like you have to hit objectives. It seems like, and I saw an Easter egg on um, Twitter that if you fail the objective, it still goes on, and like special stuff happens. I'm like, freaking, that's cool. That's interesting. I think that's what it was, or maybe that's just like you still have to pass it because it is showcase mode and you're doing Rey Mysterio's career, so you're not really changing history or anything. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I play. But I need to get in that. I'm super excited about that because I love Rey Mysterio. He's in my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. I haven't done My Rise yet. I'm going to get to that after Showcase mode. I normally do Showcase mode first and then jump into My Rise. But yeah, I'm having a great time with it. If you're a wrestling fan, definitely check it out. If you're not a wrestling fan, check it out, man. It's fun. It's a good time. Just a good old simulation game you can play with your friends. So I'm enjoying it, dude. I'm having a great time. And it's one of the best creation suites you'll ever come across in video games. So if you just want to, create your own person or create yourself. I always like to create myself as if I was ever in shape, and actually get to live the dream of being a wrestler. That's the way I create myself in that game. So yeah, I'm having a good time with it, man. Like I said, I'll eventually end up streaming that on the Third Wing Podcast Network's YouTube as well. Check out the YouTube, man. Check out the Facebook page. That's where you're going to find my show. Obviously, you have no trouble finding my show. You're listening to it right now. But it's also going to be on YouTube. There you'll find Mr. Wonderful's Mr. Wonderful show over there. You'll find Zach's Speakeasy over there. Haunter's Podcast will be over there once they start ramping up for the haunt season. All the good stuff, man, over there on the Thoroughly Podcast Network's YouTube and Facebook page. But that's going to do it for this episode, man. Started off on a somber note. Hopefully, wasn't too horrible here. I know I had to clear my throat a couple times and all that stuff because I am sad, man. It's one of my heroes that passed away today, man. It's part of my childhood that's gone. So, but I appreciate you all listening along with me as we went through here. You got 2 reviews, man. Got a lot of news. Got me acting like a moron, messing up names. So, all in all, you got an episode. You got an episode of the Review Drop Show. So, again, I appreciate you. And then, this is, in these times, this is why I always love this quote so much. And that's why I sign off every show with it. So, even in the darkest of times. Look at me, man. I'm messing it up already. Messing it up. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. Appreciate you all listening to me this week, and as always, and it'll be a new episode next week, man. Appreciate you all. Talk to you next episode. That's it. See ya. And remember, hey yo. I'm gonna start every show now with hey yo, by the way, in tribute to Scott Hall. So I'm just kind of already doing. I was like I'd come to the episode, hey yo, hey yo, like really quickly. But now, yeah. Anyways, I said to close the show. Why am I still talking? It's over. That's the end of the show. Let's close it out, man. People got to go home. The show's already been long enough. Like, hey, let's get out of here. Yeah. Maybe I'll talk about Riverdale next week. Yeah, maybe. I got a couple of Riverdale posters over the weekend. Maybe I should watch the show some more. Anyways, man, again, appreciate you all listening to my nonsense. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you next episode.
Thank you for joining me this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to get updates on all new episodes. As well, follow me on Twitter at review_it_Rob. Stay tuned for more adventures.